I thought I'd take a few minutes just to explain where I've come from in terms of my experience and what gives me any qualifications whatsoever to have a valid opinion on parenting matters. So I first started working with families probably around 20 years ago, and it was a career change for me. I was working in a very high pressure corporate environment, and my wife became pregnant with our first child unexpectedly, who is now 18, so big shout out to Dan. Hey Dan. And it was an unexpected pregnancy. That's not to say we weren't happy. We were shocked, and then we were very, very happy indeed. We found out that we were pregnant at approximately 8:30 in the morning, and because it was such a late pregnancy, by the time the day had closed, we'd actually been to the hospital and we'd said hello to our brand new baby on an ultrasound scan. So it's quite a day. Unfortunately, following Dan's birth, he became quite poorly quite quickly, and he was rushed into hospital twice. And that was a really tough and difficult time, very, very hard, very emotional, very draining, very tiring. And I had to take quite a long time off work to deal with that. I had to take a long time off work to look after him, and also to support and look after his mum, who wasn't very well either. So I was off work all told for probably about 3 or 4 months, and then when it came time to go back to work, I really couldn't face the prospect of going back into that environment. It just meant nothing to me at all anymore. I had a complete change of heart. So what I did was I started looking for other jobs, and I got a job supporting a guy who'd sustained a head injury. That was my first foray into work that was not corporate. That work was the gateway really to me being involved in extensive amounts of support work, and that support work continued until, and has continued until the present day. So one of the things that always fascinated me when I was working with head injury was the concept of cognition and the human brain, and the reactions that this gentleman that I supported had to different situations as a result of his head injury. So I worked with him for quite a long time, and then decided that my true calling was to work with children in schools. So I set about getting into pastoral support work really, and behaviour management type of work, for want of a better word, and worked in an awful lot of primary and secondary schools, working with children from the ages of 3 right the way up to 18, 19 years of age. By extension of working with those children, there was also an awful lot of work with their home environment and with family, specifically their primary carers, their parents, their grandparents, their immediate relatives. So an awful lot of that work was done by me up until probably around about 5 years ago. Very much kind of intense frontline work. About 5 years ago, I set up a small company doing private consultancy work for local authority social care departments and individual parents too. And that work is now really what I'm involved with. It's more on the policy side, and it's more around shifting attitudes towards behaviour. To this day, that is the work that I'm involved with, and the reason that I really wanted to set this channel up is I want to kind of try and spread the information that I hold, because the results that I've obtained and the families have obtained, the outcomes that they've had from a lot of the work we've done together has been extremely positive and really successful. So what I wanted to do really was to share that with all of you, and anybody that might find it in some small way useful, then that's what it's here for. It's a resource to be used, and a resource that I hope will be very helpful to you. So moving forward, what I'd like to do is really build upon what I've already done and try and spread the word in a kind of free format that is accessible to as many people as possibly can get a hold of it. In terms of my own very practical practical experience, I'm a dad. I'm a dad of 2 wonderful sons and 2 wonderful stepdaughters, and even within my own personal life I've had a lot of experience of specific issues, behavioural issues, mental health issues within my own family, and lots of other mishaps and issues and experiences as well that we all undergo at some degree, to some degree, at one time or another. So these are all really things that have informed what I do. At the last count, I'd worked in excess of 1,000 families in all sorts of environments, ranging from families that have very little resources to extremely affluent families who would seem to have everything. And the common factor really, beyond anything else, is a love for their children and a desire to want the very best for them in almost all cases. And it doesn't seem to matter where those children come from, what the backgrounds are. The parents often have very, very similar wishes and desires and dreams for them. So really the diversity of the family compositions and the backgrounds that those families come from is vast, is absolutely huge. So both on a very personal level and also on a more strategic level around informing policy and helping to write policy documents really for organisations such as schools, local authorities and social care departments. That's really my background. I felt that was appropriate to share with you because somebody brought it up as a question, and I thought it was only fair to explain. So I hope that was of some small degree of interest and reassuring, hopefully. And if you've enjoyed this video, or if you found it in any way informative, please think of subscribing, and I'll see you next time.